Hey everybody, Happy New Year and welcome to 2026. With that, it means let's wrap up 2025 and let's talk about my top 10-ish reads of 2025. So without further ado, let's get started. Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. It's Russell with Ink and Paper Blog. How are you all doing today? As always, I hope you're happy, I hope you're healthy, and I hope you're reading an amazing book or two or three or four. I cannot believe that it is 2026 already, and I have been in Oregon for almost a year now, and I can't believe how much my life has changed over 2025. But one thing that did not change this year is that I did read some pretty amazing books. It was actually pretty hard to get this down to a top 10. I had to cheat just a little. But I definitely want to share these with you. Want to make sure all of these books are on your TBR. It's a little shuffle from my books that I talked about earlier about my favorite reads of the year. I had a really good end of the year in reading. So without further ado, let's get out your pen, get out your paper, get out your Goodreads, however you keep track of your TBR. If you are so able, let's get these books from your local independent bookstore, or if you are a library user, get your library to get you a copy as soon as possible. I am going to start with my cheat book, a book that I absolutely loved, and I do want to just mention that I'm late to the party here, a book that was really big in 2024, and that is Remarkably, oh, this light is terrible for this cover, Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt. This is the paperback that is out from Ecco. It's got these beautiful, beautiful edges. Absolutely loved this book. The story of a woman in her 70s trying to figure out what comes next. Should she retire? Should she move on? She currently works as a janitor type service in an aquarium where she creates and has a relationship with an octopus that has been captured for a very long time, seeking freedom. And the other part of this story is a man in his 30s, been lost for quite some time, really trying to find family, and how all those three things come together. This book made me weep like a baby. Absolutely loved it. And I just wanted to make sure, if you didn't read it when it came out, it was pretty hyped up. If you didn't get it when it came out in paperback, now is the time to read Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt, out from Ecco. Absolutely love this book. Okay. So let's get started on the top 10. I did put these in an order, but this is a shuffleable order, to be honest. It was really hard to come down 1 through 10. But coming in at number 10 is The Savage Noble Death of Babs Dionne by Currie. This is out from Putnam Books. I actually had not heard of this book until it wound up on a best of list that I happened to be reading one day. And I was like, oh, I'm going to pick that up. Devoured it in a weekend. I read the whole book. This is sort of like if The Sopranos was a crime family headed by a woman in her 60s who came back to her small Maine town and took over in this sort of mafia type way. It's about her and her friends. It's about the impact of the opioid epidemic in this small town in Maine, the control of drugs in and out. It is a thriller. It is a family story. It is about strong women making difficult choices to protect their family. There's a lot in this book that I think is very, very talkable. This would be a good book club book because some of the decisions and some of the things that the main characters do and the addiction that runs through this town, it's difficult to get your head around and sort of feel good about. But when you sort of look at the core reasons that these people make these choices, you sort of start to understand the bigger picture here. I absolutely thought it was brilliant. It was a page turner. I loved it until the very last page, read it quickly. Let's make sure, if you haven't heard about it, you get it on your TBR. That's The Savage Noble Death of Babs Dionne out by Currie, out from Putnam. I'm trying to do this in right before we decide to take down all our Christmas stuff, by the way. When do you take down your Christmas stuff? All that work to put it up. It's the work taking it down that I'm like, oh, I don't want to do it. But that's not what we're here to talk about. Book number 9 is what we're here to talk about. This will be my only nonfiction. I did not read a ton of nonfiction this year, but this is a Truce That Is Not Peace by Miriam Toews. This is out from Bloomsbury. Now, Miriam Toews, she is the writer of Women Talking, which is a book that I absolutely loved. And she's also the author of All My Puny Stars, which is another book that I highly recommend. This book starts with an invitation to a writers' conference in Mexico City, I believe, where she's asked to write a piece about why she writes. And as she writes this piece, she is never getting to what the committee is looking for, but what she's doing is dealing with the trauma and the emotional aspects of the death and suicide of her sister. If you've read All My Puny Sorrows, you get a little bit of that in here. Both her sister and her father committed suicide. And she has also had those thoughts. So it's a lot about going through all of that. It's told in snippets. It's sort of quick. And then all of a sudden you'll get these big scenes that have sort of these meaty developments of family angles. And it is just breathtaking. She is a phenomenal writer. So that's A Truce That Is Not Peace by Miriam Toews. And this is, again, out from Bloomsbury. Next on the list is actually a book I read way back at the beginning of the year, but I think about all the time, mainly because I am just a huge Kevin Wilson fan. And that's Run for the Hills by Kevin Wilson's, again, out from Ecco. Ecco scoring big on Russell's list this year. Kevin Wilson wrote Nothing to See Here. He wrote The Family Thing. What else did he write that I love? Perfect Little World. And Now Is Not the Time to Panic. I'm a huge Kevin Wilson fan. This is another sort of family story. This is about a young woman. She works on a farm with her mother, has a very sort of solitary life with her mom. Her dad left unexpectedly, real no question or answer. Then one day, a man shows up, says, "Hey, I'm your older brother, and we share a father, and my dad, your dad, did the same thing to my mom, and I think there are other siblings out there." And they decide to go on a road trip to find these other siblings and make these connections and create sort of a found family. It is heartwarming. It is funny. It is just everything you love about Kevin Wilson. Highly recommend. So Kevin Wilson, Run for the Hills, out from Ecco. Again, if you haven't read Kevin Wilson, really worth your time to do so. Next on the list, I want to say that this is number 6. I think this is number 6. Again, a dicey number 6 because I did love all of these books this year. And that is The Emperor of Gladness by Vuong. This is out from Penguin Press. I think this was an Oprah book, as you can tell by the imprint on the front of my cover. So lots of people may have read this one already, but this is about a young man. His life is tough, a young gay man. He's trying to sort of figure things out. And then one day he's on the edge of a bridge in the rain, about to end his life, when an old woman yells at him across the way and creates a relationship that not saves him and in a way saves her. You find out she is dealing with dementia. She has lived through the war, and there's a lot going on in her past as well. And as he sort of develops this relationship with her, how he takes care of her, he also gets back involved with his own family, where he's been rather separated from, and all this other stuff. It is just such a tale of finding yourself and relationships and the importance of friendships and the love that develops out of them. I absolutely love this book. Vuong, as you may have known, is a poet by trade, and all of his language is absolutely beautiful. His really big book that came out prior to this was On Earth We Briefly Gorgeous. I can never say that title quickly, but I highly recommend all of Ocean's work. But this one just really touched me. You know how I am, books with an old woman in them, especially when they're a little kooky, a little fun, but also got like that big heart. That's just right up my alley. So again, The Emperor of Gladness by Vuong, out from Penguin Press. Highly recommend. Okay, my next book and my number 5 book may be slightly controversial because I know people have very strong feelings about it. And I will say it's a book that once I closed it, I have not stopped thinking about sort of the premise and what is going on in the book. And that is Some Bright Nowhere by Ann Packer. I actually met Ann Packer. Oh, I'm sorry, this is out from Harper. I met Anne Parker years and years ago at a Booktopia event for a short story collection. She is such a lovely person. But this book is definitely one, it was an Oprah book club again. But what the premise of the book is we have Elliot and his wife, Claire. Claire. Claire is dying of cancer. She has a sort of an end date. She's not going to get better. She stopped treating, and Elliot is taking care of her. And Claire asks Elliot that she would like to die with her friends and not with Elliot. She would like Elliot to leave. And the book is told solely from Elliot's point of view. How this request affects him, how he thinks about it, how it makes him feel, and sort of all these outside perspectives on this request. You find out that Claire has had a sort of a relationship with a woman who also died of cancer, who didn't have any family, got her friends around her, and it was like a magical moment for Claire to be part of that. So she really wants to recreate that. But you have Elliot who doesn't know what to do with that, doesn't know how to feel about that. They're children that certainly have very, very strong opinions. And some, when Elliot does agree, blame Elliot. And they don't understand why Elliot would do this for his wife. What I think is so brilliant about this book is that we only see Elliot's perspective. And we know it. We can understand his hurt. We can understand his pain. But we don't see Claire. We don't get into Claire's head. And we never know why she's made this choice. But there are some astounding phrases in this. One of Claire's friends says that Elliot is treating Claire like she's already dead instead of living the end of her life with her. I thought that was an extremely powerful idea. Think about it all the time. I do think when people are at the end of their life, we sort of just sit there waiting for them to die instead of sitting there waiting to celebrate the life they have left, if that makes sense. I thought this book was brilliant. It was heartbreaking. It definitely was thought-provoking. I know it's not going to be for everyone, but it's a book that I think really brings forth a conversation about end of life that I thought was really powerful. So that's Some Bright Nowhere by Anne Parker. And again, this is out from Harper. Okay. Now, you know that I can't have a year with a Brandon Taylor book come out and Brandon Taylor not be on my top 10. I know that not everybody loves Brandon Taylor, but I am a die-hard Brandon Taylor fan. And that's why Minor Black Figures by Brandon Taylor out from Riverhead Book is on my top 10. Now, he just speaks to me in a way that few writers do. This is the story of a young man who is Wyeth, is Wyeth. I'm saying Wyeth, I hope that's right. Wyeth is an artist. He is a young Black artist. He works on his own art. He works as a restorationist. And he's really quite lost as to what his future is going to be. But the book is really a discussion of art history, art power, art's dynamic nature, the politics of art, and the money of art, really. The consumerism of art is also very prevalent in here. But it's also about literature. It's also about relationship. Wyeth meets a man at an art exhibit, complicated history. I don't want to give it away because I think that is very, very interesting. But they start a relationship, and it has its complications, but it also has its passions and its difficulties. And I just think that Brandon Taylor speaks in a way that is so young and queer and right, and just talks about things in a way that makes you continuously think as you turn the pages. I love this book, and I think that this may be his best book as of yet. And I will read all of his books over again. I think they're all brilliant. So that's Minor Black Figures by Brandon Taylor out from Riverhead Books. Trying to get these all in this stack on this table beside me. If it falls over, I apologize. Okay, we're to our top 4. Coming at number 4 is Flashlight by Susan Choi, and this is out from FSG. I don't think I need to talk about this book too much because I do believe this book was everywhere. It was shortlisted for the Booker Prize. I thought it was going to make it onto the National Book Award list. But Susan Choi, she's just an amazing, amazing writer. This is the story of a young girl at the start of the story. She and her father are walking on a beach in Japan. And she wakes up, her father is gone and is presumed dead. And then we sort of follow her through life, her and her mother. Her mother has some sort of unknown illness that is sort of takes her out of life. And there's a resentment between mother and daughter that is just, it is juicy and difficult and uncomfortable. I'll be honest with you, it took me a minute to get into the book because our main character is not that likable at first. But as you sort of see how everything comes together as she goes to college, as she finds her way in life, you sort of see what happens with her mother. And then we get more information about how her father and how her father disappeared. Everything sort of the pieces start coming together. And the story is much bigger than anyone thought it would be. And I thought that was utterly brilliant. The writing is so crisp and clean. The characters are so well drawn. They are complicated, not always likable. The mom does wind up meeting someone later in life, and that relationship is just so bookish. It's just so good. He's like got this cluttered house full of books, and he just falls for her, and it's so good. And they both deserve more than maybe life has been giving them, and maybe more than they think they deserve. So really, really love this book. Highly recommend. Flashlight by Susan Choi, and this is out from FSG. It's also a fantastic audiobook if you're looking for an audiobook. Okay, last but not least, the top three. And one of them I just finished a couple weeks ago, and y'all, why did it take me so long to get to Lily King? That is Heart the Lover by Lily King. This is out from Grove. I have like 4 Lily King books on my shelf. Well, they're in boxes right now. And I've always bought her thinking, you're going to love Lily King. And then I never have actually picked it up. And then I saw Chris and Bernie, you know them if you're Instagrammers, had read this. They both loved it. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to buy it. I got a gift certificate. I'm going to read it. Devoured it. Absolutely thought it was brilliant. This is about a relationship, or actually 2 relationships. A young woman, she goes to college, she meets a man, a very conservative man, starts a relationship with him, gets very complicated, and in the process meets his best friend. And later in life, she and the best friend start a relationship, which only complicates the relationship with the first man. So our main character, I'm going to get names. Hold on one second. I know Sam is the first boyfriend. Yash is the second boyfriend. And our main character, I'm not going to tell you the main character. I'm not. Because that's interesting. But this book I hear is like sort of a companion to Writers and Lovers, which was her last book. But this one completely stands on its own. It's about people and relationships. There's a lot of dialogue about books and literature. They're all sort of in the literature zeitgeist for a while. It's about decisions, about relationship decisions that define everything. Obviously, there is complications with the Sam and Yash relationship when Yash starts to get involved with the main character. Then the main character and Yash move on from one another, and she gets married. Yash comes back into her life, and this book will make you cry. I'm just telling you right now, it's going to make you cry. It's very heart-wrenching, but the characters are so good. The dialogue is so good. The people are so good, and it's a short book, but it packs a wallop, and I absolutely loved it. So that's Heart the Lover by Lily King, out from Grove. Okay. Coming in at number 2, which I would never have read if this was not for my bookish friends. So Emily, let's see, Lil, Julia, Jana, all recommended this book to me via a text thread about a birthday. They were like, have you read Russell? And I was like, no. And they're like, you need to read. I went out and bought it the next day and read it the next day. And that's The Correspondent by Virginia Evans. This is out from Crown Press. This book is actually done, I think, better than anyone thought it would do, because it came out of nowhere, and it has done very well for itself. So you may have already read The Correspondent, but it's an epistolary novel told in letters. The main character is an old woman. It's my kryptonite. Sybil has written letters her whole life. And what we do in this book is we follow her correspondence to many different people. She's friends with Joan Didion, which I think is absolutely fantastic. She and Joan Didion's dialogue back is very Didion in nature. Absolutely love it. But it's about her relationships, her complications, her past, her history. She's kept every letter. She has a best friend that she's had for a long time who's dealing with her husband being ill. She also has there's just so much. All I will say is that every page turns in such a beautiful way, telling such a beautiful story, jumping back and forth in time, piecing together Sybil's life, who she is, why she is the way she is. And again, I will tell you, I was sitting in this library over here, sitting at a window, reading the last few pages, bawling my eyes out because I absolutely loved it. So, The Correspondent by Virginia Evans, out from Crown. Highly, highly recommend it. And thank you to all of my bookish friends. So, what is coming in at number 1? Can you make a guess? I will say, if you've known me a while, you know that I don't need books that need a ton of plot. I am looking for the thought, the characters, the dialogue. That is very much this book. My top read of 2025 goes to Audition by Kate Kitamura, out from Riverhead Books. I need to get my final copy of this and get it on my shelf, but I'm saving it until the library's built, y'all. This book is just so brilliant. It starts, we have the main character is this woman. She's pretty like a medium famous actress working on a play, going through rehearsal. A young man walks in one day looking to be sort of an assistant to someone, but then comes up to her, asks her to lunch, only to tell her he thinks she gave him away when he was little. Like, he's the son she would have had if she had kept this baby from the past. I don't want to get too much into the complicated nature of all of that. I know that's not exactly clear, but he's like, I think I'm your son. She's like, there's no way. And it's all about that relationship and how that conversation affects not only their relationship, but her relationship with her husband, her relationship to her art, and the play that she's in. It gets complicated. Then the book takes a way right turn, and there's a second half, and it comes into what if it was true, and that relationship was true, and how does that affect it? So you never know in the first half. In the second half, you may know, but in the end, it all has dynamic repercussions on this woman and those people in this sort of triangle, and her art, very much her art. It is so brilliant, and I probably did not do a good enough job telling you about it. If you haven't read A Separation, which was her last book, Katie Kitamura she's a powerhouse, y'all. And Audition is just a fabulous piece of fiction. I believe it was also shortlisted for the Booker. So, I highly recommend it. My top read of 2025 is Audition by Katie Kitamura, and that is out from Riverhead Books. Do you think I can lift all of these and show you all? I don't think I can. I was going to try. I just saw it all falling in my head, so I'm not going to. I hope you all had a fantastic reading year. I want you to tell me, what was your top book of 2025? What book can you not recommend enough and you want everybody to read that you read this year? As always, I am so thankful to have you all here today. And I say at the end of every video, read globally, shop locally. And until next time, I wish you happy reading. Bye, everyone.